Welcome to KIMEcast, where we break through and cut the BS in sports medicine, rehabilitation, and sports performance, and talk about how things really work. All right, welcome to KIMEcast. This is Tony Mikla. I'm here with my guys here, Russ Dunning, Nevin Hauger, Aaron Crouch. So today we have our guest here is Dan John. Super excited to have Dan with us. We've been learning from Dan for years remotely or through live conferences, and it's always been moving to hear his stories and his perspective. And I think we've pulled so much in our field from what Dan's taught and preached for several years. So I'm super thankful for all we've learned from you, and I'm hoping to share that today, and we can bring a little bit of that to life for the guests. And we'll always, every time I talk to you, we learn something new. So I appreciate you being here, Dan.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dan's coming to us from Utah. He's a strength coach, been doing it for years, has an amazing history, and also works as a professor, has worked as a professor overseas in the UK as well, so has really just a profound impact on the field of strength conditioning, and our field is often sports medicine, rehabilitation, physical therapy, and we've always found that we've learned so much from the strength conditioning community to really understand movement, understand demands on the body, adaptation, and those stresses to kind of really help our clients move up. So it's really cool to kind of bring these two together. So
yeah, thank you. You know, I like working with DPTs. I'll be honest with you. A lot of them come out, and when they first start, they had their stuff. They learned a lot of good things about, to fix people, but they didn't learn sometimes part two. If I'm wrong on that.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Not long ago, a DPT took me out to lunch, and it was really a good day. So I was born with a condition called pistol grip hips. That means from the day I was born, I was going to have 2 total hip replacements. It's in my family. My niece had to deal with it when she was about 1.5 years old. It just kind of depends. And so he asked a good question. He said, well, how did we help in physical therapy? And if you guys don't mind, I'll say you guys are good at 2 spots. And we use the semaphore. So when I first came to, there was a physical therapist there to help me get my legs over and get me on the walker and encourage me. We went with the new modern techniques with a total hip replacement. I think I went 200 meters the first time because it was the first time I'd been out of pain. Mm-hmm. So maybe I was pushing it with the IV bag.
Yeah. Ass hanging out the back.
Yeah, the damn thing in my little funny area, that little,
Oh yeah. Totally.
See, hot tub time machine. Physical therapy is very good in the red light situation. I got great advice about using the rail going downstairs for a while. I got great advice about, just like, for example, putting my hand up, like, bring the leg over into the shower and stuff like that. And later, about 5 or 6 months later, you guys were real good at the green light situation, saying, now you're free to go play with tasks of fitness, which are just, the ability to do a task, and not necessarily performance, but I did anyway. The middle part, the yellow, so you guys are real good at the stoplight, and you guys are real good at the go take on the world, but the middle part was where we in fact, this is a great conversation because I came up with the following. I said, at Thanksgiving, I have 18 bags of groceries, okay? And I have to take those bags of groceries from my car up 10 stairs, not 10 flights of stairs, just 10 stairs into my kitchen. The bags weigh between 10 and 20 pounds each. So this is what I said, and I hope you guys might like this. I said, hi, I'm Dan John. I'm going to take all 18, I'm going to strap them up, get them all the way down the arms, and I'm going to do one flight of 10 with 365 pounds. Put them on the kitchen table and be done with it. Someone listening might say, I would do one bag at a time. So 18 trips, 180 stairs, 10 to 20 pounds. Got it?
Yep.
For me, what the yellow light is the matrix. One trip, 10 stairs, 360, 18 trips, 180 stairs, 10 to 20 pounds each. That jumble of numbers in there is where I think that you guys and me guys can sit down and talk with. That ability for somebody to have that matrix of, okay, I'm just going to pick up 4. 4 is too many, I'm going to do 2. 2 is too light, but if I have 2 10s in one hand and a 20 in the, you get that?
Yeah.
And to me, that's the area in physical therapy that I think we need to talk more about. I'm not just cleared, but I have the ability to make decisions in real time, in real life. And that does happen. Bags of groceries, bringing out the Christmas presents, putting Christmas away. Those are all things that show up, and we need more. And we need more. We need a bigger. Yeah, I like that matrix. Rainbow of things. It's not you're fine, you're effed. Somewhere we need more. We need more gray. And for me, we can work together on gray.
Yeah, absolutely. So we call that the continuum, right? Would be the matrix, or there's a continuum process, right? Where there's a start and there's your point of the yellow zone, and then there's this end really green zone. Couldn't agree more. And I think that's the state of the profession across the U.S. for sure in so many cases. And it's for us, it's super frustrating. It's one of the reasons we're here, and what we've developed is to bridge that gap and to where we started and what you bring to the table. It's so cool because that is what's needed, is this blend of, hey, one thing to get rid of range of motion back and get out of pain. Yes, that's a great, out of the red light space, so to speak, right? But now we've actually got to build some strength in here and get this body fortified so it can tolerate some forces, tolerate some load. We can do some work. And then can we add some speed? Can we add some power? Can we add some velocity? And then if ultimately, can we get back into chaos, or can we get back into competition, right?
Yeah. And we talked just before, gentle listener, so just going to fill in, so I break down what my world is about into 4 terms, but then I'm going to build up the other 2 that's the hand. The hand that goes up at Perform Better is about the 2 that really don't exist. Okay. So I use Maffetone's definition of health. That's the optimal interplay of the human organs. So if you don't have cancer and your blood profiles, according to your doctor, look good, you went to the dentist and you don't have anything disgusting going on, and you go to the eye doctor and nothing crazy is going on, well, you're healthy. And you're healthy, and there's like a set of numbers that say you're healthy. If you win the New York City Marathon, but you have liver cancer, yeah, you won the marathon, but you're not healthy. And so when I talk to groups, that's something I always try to put aside. Wear your seatbelt, don't smoke, be reasonable about certain things. That's health. The next one's longevity, and that's a quantitative and qualitative thing. In my family, we don't live long in my family. So my goals are very much, in my personal goals, are very much headed towards longevity. I like this idea from Ronald Wolf, live long, drop dead. That's kind of my goal. I'd much rather, actually I've been told by God how I'm going to die. In the year 2137, I'll be shot to death by the husband of a supermodel, jealous husband. And that's the kind of, so I just know that's coming.
2137.
Congratulations.
Pretty far from there.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. So the thing about the quantitative versus the qualitative, the number of years you live, if it's crappy, I don't want it. You follow? But there are some people say, I had an uncle who lived to be 98. Oh, what did he do? Oh, he drooled in a bin for 12 years. Well, okay. Quality of life is just like a savings plan. It's what you invested at 19 and 20. It is a savings plan. Flossing your teeth, not smoking, wearing seatbelts, not being stupid are far more important for the quality of your long life than trying to. I'm 63. Trying to. I'm working with somebody who's about a decade older, trying to undo habits. They're in their 70s trying to undo damage. It's like, really? Now you want now. Okay,
yes,
now.
Indeed.
And then there's 2 words that I think really throw people off: fitness, and that's just the ability to do a task. And I don't care. It could, if you you break your neck as a male, you can still reproduce because that's a different system. Like I say, you can become a father, but you not be able to play with your kids. So fitness is a weird thing. When I read on Outside Magazine, the fittest man in the world, I just want to slap him. If I throw the discus 244 and I can't, and I need to sit down for an hour and a half and relax because I'm so exhausted, I'm still the fittest discus thrower in history because I just broke the world record. So no one takes your heart rate after you throw the discus. No one cares. No one measures your body fat. No one cares. And then there's the world I live in, which is performance. And that's when someone calls your name, you do a specific task. So if you're a Broadway dancer or singer, you are a musician. You understand performance as well as I do. You know, you might be the best garage band in Yuba City, but that doesn't mean, you know, it's going to be, you might not be that big of a deal.
Probably not that big a deal.
Probably not.
There's a country singer.
The hands, of course, go up immediately. I perform better because people now say, well, what about fat loss and what about hypertrophy bodybuilding? Well, I agree with Art Devaney. Don't get fat in the first place. You know, again, we go back to what you throw in at 19 and 20. The decisions you make in your 20s for adipose tissue are far more important than the decisions you make when you're 73. Mm-hmm. And then with gaining muscle mass in the area of performance, it's often the least. In fact, sometimes it's counterproductive. You know, if you're a high jumper and you're trying to look like Mr. Universe, you might look good, but you're not going to win. You know, it's just pure physics. I think you and I, you guys and me, we can dance together. I would say we're 6 for 6 with a good physical therapist, right? I support health by talking about habits and encouraging, appropriate things. I know I have an impact on fitness and performance. And with longevity, the most important thing I can do is teach some habits that carry on a long time. In the areas of fat loss, obviously, I mean, I can encourage my athletes to keep, when you retire, don't say something like, good, now I can eat, like a famous gymnast once said. She said, good, now I can eat. And you could tell within a year or two that she had discovered it.
Yeah. And the performance
when I was young, the female swimmers used to really have issues with that. So, and in the area of hypertrophy bodybuilding, obviously we can help, and part of my job would be to wean people away from thinking that's the most important thing you can do in the athletic training center. And I certainly get why the boys want, hypertrophy. I always tell them, well, why don't you try basic hygiene, learn how to dance, and learn how to talk to a woman like a woman instead of like you're on the internet. So, but what do I know?
Sound advice. Sound advice.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned
so that. I think we can work together in all those areas, and I think we can work very well together. I certainly listen. I mean, I don't know if you guys would consider Stu McGill a physical therapist, but he and I are very good friends, and we bounce ideas off each other. I think this works in performance. He gets back to me, he says, well, then, I studied it. And there's an exercise called the suitcase carry, where it's a single, farmer walk is double hands, right. Single is a single side walk. And he went up and he said, yeah, if you're just going to do one exercise, suitcase carry might be the one. In fact, I'm now teaching javelin. I'm using the suitcase carry with javelin throwers to teach them the appropriate way to finish on the offside. So it's kind of funny to watch an exercise like the suitcase carry, which was originally done just to get people tired, to then find out it's one of the best things you can do for your spine. And now it's also a great way to teach javelin throwers how to correctly throw. So, I see us in a nice little loop working together.
So true, love it. I want to get back to the carries with you as we go on today, because I know we've picked that up from you at times, and different things you do with it that is so cool that we implement, and most of our patients hate us for, but that's part of the process, at least in the moment. So, but no, I think you mentioned a few things there on your habits, and I love your shark habit concept that you talk about, and some ways that you've made certain things in your life simple in order to tolerate other challenges or more complexity, and I think that's a great one.
Well, if I explain that?
Absolutely.
So shark habits, the word comes from Rob Wolf. We work with the military together. And the idea of a shark habit, if you have a binary decision come at you, one bite and it's gone, shark habit. So if I get a, an invitation to a wedding today, I'll open it up. And since I opened it up, now that means I'm going to finish whatever it is. RSVP, I'll look at my calendar. I'll put in yes or no, my regrets. I'll go to Bed Bath & Beyond with a registered or whatever it is. I'll buy the present, click the button, put the self-addressed envelope with the stamp on it back. It's out of my head. Now, here's the thing. I just did the bride a huge favor. Now, it's in my calendar. I know where I'm going. It's the mistake people make with shark habits. They think it's unimportant stuff. It's very important to the bride. And actually, me showing up is very important. But now it's out of my head. Now it's out of my head. Other shark habits, we always joke about my shirts. I have 16 of these shirts because this is all this company had in North America in my size. So I bought every single one of them. So why did you have 18 shirts? Because that's all they had was 60. Yeah. So I don't waste a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to wear very often. And it's funny because my daughters don't care. My wife doesn't care. No one cares. I'm a 63-year-old grandfather. No one cares if I'm in fashion. And it's funny, you're around a 13-year-old girl. Everyone's watching. No one's watching. No one cares. Trust me. I wear this shirt every day. No one even notices, I have another one as a menu. I think you should have a weekly menu. And so, Monday, steak and salad. Tuesday, Viking enchiladas. Wednesday is Irish jambalaya. Thursday is breakfast for dinner. That's our menu. Nice. So when I go shopping after I eat, by the way, always eat before you do weekly shops. You're not, oh, that looks good. These are muffins.
That's temptation.
Twinkies.
Yeah.
And then you have a shopping list based on the menu. And then when you're shopping, if you see that something you use a lot is 10 for $1 or 10 for $10, you buy extra because you're going to use it on and on and on. I think you should have a chores list. Monday is white laundry, Tuesday is dark laundry, Wednesday is clean the bathrooms. And the reason I say that is because if you walk by the white laundry on Friday and you see it overflowing, you ignore it because Monday is white laundry day. And what it does is it kind of frees your brain up from constantly having to make, I'm going to say trivial decisions. They're not trivial, but if I open, you guys probably notice, I open an email, I respond. You probably picked up on that, right?
Yeah.
Because I open the email. If it sits, I know it'll bother me sometimes. Oh yeah, what is that thing I got to do? And those kind of thoughts, that's right, I got to do this. Those thoughts, I think, take up more RAM in your brain than what your big life goals are. I want to dance at my granddaughter's wedding. I want to knock out this next book with Pavel. I want to finish the 10,000 swing challenge. Those tiny little scratches in your head take up more traction than what really brings you joy in life. So, yeah, I call them shark habits. And do you want me to build up what's on top of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep rolling,
You described Russ to a T there on the dress, and no one cares.
I've read a lot of your books. So.
But, did I explain shark habits okay? That's basically
beautifully.
it, right?
That's perfect. Yeah.
And here's the thing, professionally, I think I do more podcasts. I probably write more articles than anyone in the field. I'm not being look at me. I think partially because I'll get an email from bodybuilding.com. Will you write an email about the article about this topic? Yes. Hour later, here's the article.
Open
I
it.
didn't think you'd write it that fast.
Yeah.
Well, you asked me to write it.
Yeah.
So if I'd be sitting around all day going,
Yeah.
should I start it with this? No, that. God, I won't even know what I'm talking about. So you knock it out, you knock it out, you knock it out. When you ask for a podcast, I say yes or I say no, right? And then I tell you, just remind me the day of because I got stuff going on. So what a pirate map is, and this comes from Pat Flynn, I think it's genius.
I love it. Yeah.
Josh and I have this great book called, on phallus, and it's 432 pages, and I think it's really good, but that's not what people want a pirate map. One, go to St. John's Island, find the white coconut tree, march 7 paces to the west, dig down. There. Dan, and I get this all the time. It was weird this year with the COVID Christmas and COVID New Year's. Generally, this time of year at parties, I get the same question. Just, Dan, I want to lose some weight this year. Just tell me what to do. First off, put all that shit that's in your hand down and stop eating that. And then go for a walk, for God's sakes. Can you make it simpler than that? Bam! Yeah, there you go. See, it's on the ground.
Yeah, right there.
Don't stop and get it off the floor.
Didn't want to hear that.
So my personal shortcut, so my goal is to dance at Josephine's wedding, okay, my granddaughter. She's 6. And no one in my family's ever lived that long, 20 years from now, so I'm pushing against the odds here. So 1, before I go to bed every night, I make my to-do list, and I make coffee because I wake up to the smell of coffee. When I wake up, number 2, I take a moment to be grateful. I figure if I can't be grateful about something, I get enough sleep, okay? I do this thing called 1 moment meditation every day. It's an app, it's free, it's 1 minute meditation. Very often I do a 15-minute meditation with brain.fm. But I think you need a moment every day to just practice not spinning. 4, I strive to eat 8 different vegetables every day. I've already done it today. 1 meal, 9 vegetables, so I'm done. Different. And then number 5 is my training program. 5 days a week I do original strength, TRX work, heavy hands, lots of pressing. And right now I'm doing 500 kettlebell swings a day with this challenge I'm doing. But it's well, it's on, so it's in the inside of my journal, and it's on top of my computer, and it's also in a wall in my bedroom. So no matter what I'm going to do, I bump into it. What my pirate map is this. Now, are there better ideas? Okay, yeah, I already have the habit of flossing twice a day. I'm fine. I wear my seatbelt because my car yells at me if I don't. Got it. I try not to be stupid. I didn't say I'm always not stupid. I say I try. TRY. So that I still have those moments. And I think all you really can do is kind of edge the numbers. Just all I'm trying to do is the Titanic is facing this iceberg. If you turn it 6 hours early, you're okay. If you only have 6 minutes, if you only have 6 seconds,
Not looking
so
good.
my big belief is I'm the Titanic and I'm trying to avoid icebergs. So I'm trying to turn early, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So both the shark habits and the pirate map free up my brain so I can do things that I like. When people ask me, I write about 2 books a year, right? If you guys follow, and the school one time asked me how many articles I've published, and I was like, well, I don't know. And they were like 5. Oh no, I was thinking more like 500 to 1,000. And my supervisor was like, and they're not in those, bogus, Western Utah, strength and conditioning quarterly. I mean, there's some famous ones. And I tell people, they say, how do you write so much? And I say, it's because I wear a black shirt.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And they're like, well, no, seriously, I mean, what's your process? Well, I wear a black shirt, But the idea is, by not having a jillion decisions every day, cutting down the number of decisions, it allows me to do the things I think are important. When I was a teacher, one time a speaker came in and said that a teacher makes 10,000 decisions a day. So we were at a Catholic school with uniforms. So every student who walks in, I am deciding if they're in uniform or not. Even if I'm doing it, but I'm still deciding. And then you decide about whether a kid is tardy or not. And then you decide. And what you find sometimes with teachers is there's this bizarre kind of burnout because they're just, they have too many decisions to make too often. And so what I try to do on the things that are most important in my life, my pirate map, I try to make that as simple and clear as I can. Now you'll raise your hand and say, Dan, I'll be a great discus thrower. Okay. Lift 3 days a week, throw the discus 4 days a week for the next 8 years. Well, everyone misses that 8 years part. But, whatever, for example, how'd you get through DPT school? I mean, did
Drinking.
you wait until the last day to do everything?
No.
Well, I know Evan did, but
Yeah.
but the truth is, it's the statement Coach Mon, my coach in college, little and often over the long haul.
Yep.
And whenever you look at great wisdom from any field, they always have the same basic patterns. And once you get those same patterns, then I try to apply it to my career, my work, my consulting, and everything else. So I don't know, I hope that helps.
No, so true. We see it in you, and I think one thing that you've shared on that idea of creating something that's easily usable or that you can apply, and I think make less decisions. We get a lot of conversations with people about what should my training program look like, how much should I do of this, what exercise should I do, you know the questions, how many reps and sets should we do, and all this. Like, okay, well, our approach is if the level of questions before that should be what you just described, right? What's your lifestyle like? What are your foundational habits? And then we can talk about maybe reps and sets and programming. But even before we get to that, I think the training chart that you've put together of the simplicity of how you've organized training programs is really sheer genius, and like it was something that is interesting. I feel like I've been struggling with it for 10 years in my career, putting together training programs and all these things I'd put together, and I think got them pretty simple. And then when I saw you present that chart, I was like, and there it is, in like a chart fashion. And so I completely respect the complexity to get it to, and this is your decision making process, and how to escort someone through that.
Hey, would you mind sharing the movement matrix with the audience?
Yes.
No, I mean like in the show notes.
Yeah.
We can totally do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Okay, so gentle listener, there's 37 movements in my chart, okay? Push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carrier on the left. And then on the top, it's basically planks. You could call them isometrics. It doesn't matter. For example, the push-up position plank. I used to use the bat wing sessionally, but now with the TRX, with the T and the Y and the row, that covers it just as well as, and that way I don't have to have a bench in my facility. So a win-win. The goblet squat, which is a moving squat, a moving plank. That's why I'll get right. The glute bridge, or the isometric hip thrust, and the farmer walk, which is again a moving plank. And very often with people, when I just get them to goblet squat and farmer walk, it exposes all their issues. That I don't even have to actually, I don't have to coach that much, because it's like, oh, I break right there. Yeah, I noticed that. Anyway, well, you noticed that too. So
That's the key.
and then, so that would be the plank, the basic plank family, okay? And don't forget the moving plank. This is conversations with Stu. I don't know but I know that's that wonderful dialogue, And then there's the traditional strength exercises, what we would all call, you see the bench press, the military, the row, the pull-up, hip thrusts, rack deadlift, the squat family, prowlers, and sled pulls. Okay. Then there's, I call them now anti-rotation, but that'd be the one-arm bench press, the one-arm press. Very important. My God, the more I work, the longer and longer I think that this particular column is maybe the fountain of youth. The anti-rotation. The single-arm TRX row. When I first got a TRX, I thought it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen. They had this thing you young guys wouldn't know. It was called a DVD. And they had a thing called running in place. Well, why would you spend over $200 to run in place? Give me $50, I'll show you a cheaper one. When I did the single arm row, I'm like, okay, that's it.
That's it. Yep.
When you get into the hinge, I now moved away from a lot of other stuff. Now I have it be like running in hill, even marching in place as a hinge. And the way I measure asymmetry, this is a tool you guys might want to use with your ankle, knee, hip people, is when they march in place, grab, okay, so I got PVC pipes in my hands or broomsticks at the mid. So I got a 5-foot PVC pipe and I'm holding it in the middle. and then you march in place. And what you'll see sometimes is that you'll see one hand, you'll see the PVC pipe strike the face. Even the stupid people figure it out after the second, so don't worry.
It's a great feedback tool.
But what you'll see is it's a self-correcting gait. So march in place. So I'm a person of metal, okay? That's what we like to be called nowadays. As a person of metal, when I first did march in place, I didn't have my gait back yet. Now, pretty soon that came around. Then I went for a walk around the block, and it took me 10 strides. Now, if I do something like a bound, you start to bound, this way. Well, that's not symmetry. You follow? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the squat family, that's now I teach it with a bear hug carry and then a squat. And that's how I find asymmetries. If I could go back in the beginning, I wouldn't have invented the goblet squat. I probably would have done the bear hug carry squat. It's the same thing, but the bear hug makes it even less weightlifty, so the person falls back to a natural human movement that they know how to do, but they forgot. But the bear hug carry squat. So you're holding a 100-pound wrestling bag, and then I say squat. You stop, you squat, you stand up and go. You don't think because you're fighting this 100-pound thing, and you squat absolutely perfectly. And then in the asymmetries, it would be like the waiter walk, the suitcase carry, and the single side rack. For you guys, you're done. You don't need any more with that in the physical therapy world. That's going to cover most. But then I add ballistics. That would be like the kettlebell swing, the overhead ballistics, where you combine the squat and the sprint. And then after that would be the Olympic lifts, the snatch and clean jerk. But honestly, you could probably build one of the finest American football teams in the world by just getting up to the asymmetrical moves. You don't. Certainly, they would be better to do the next step, but they'd be pretty good. The weird thing about those damn like squat or hinge followed by sprints is how far people started throwing the implements after that. And then I realized with American football, it is how the game is played. Arm fighting, explosion down. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's so brilliant. I'm not sure if you intended it, but it's so developmental as well. Because a lot of people, say they're 15, the high school football team, and they're already learning hang cleans, but they really haven't mastered all the sequences prior to that. And that's what I love about your chart is it has a developmental feel.
Yes, and this is Russ, who was late, made a good comment. Russ, so there's two. So let's do this though, Russ. I like what you're saying there. So you work with middle school kids, push-up position plank, glute ham, goblet squat, farm work. I like that. I'm working with an elite 23-year-old athlete, end of a long season, beat up, needs a month plus off, say 6 weeks. When they come back, the reason I want to revisit the push-up to position plank and the goblet squat is to reteach tension, which of course, the more tension you have, the safer you are in the weight room. And so even with elite athletes, I like where your head's at. You want to swim through those again. And I agree with you. I deadlifted 600 last season and before the season. And then we had this 13, 14-week season. Then I took 6 weeks off. I walked back in the gym, and when I pick up 400, ooh, coach, my greater, absolius is brachiating across the lower. I love this. I love 2021. No one gets hurt anymore. Now it's, now they went to the damn, they went up to the anatomy chart. And I said, I think it's the upper thoracic, dude, unless you have an MR. I used to work with a PT who one time kid came off and said, oh, he has a slap tear. You diagnose a slap tear with a pair of shoulder pads on? My God. I'm thinking there. See, a lot of people use like x-rays and MRIs and, manipulation, touching. You diagnose a slap tear in the middle of a stadium.
It's impressive.
No offense to your field, but seriously.
Yeah, we agree. Been there.
So what you want to do then is, and it'd be an interesting thing. For example, when I work with the special forces guys, one of my jobs, one of the things I try to do is get them called out on something as simple as a glute bridge. I want them to stand up after. So I don't know if you guys have seen it in my hands-on where we have we have people, either a glute band or someone holding the knees and then someone holding the ab wall, making the abs engaged. You got this guy 13 deployments who's got a cramped glute from doing a glute bridge. All of a sudden they're listening now, Yep. So there's great value, Russ, who came late. And returning to those all the time. And the other nice thing about this is that I can say, okay, you're up to standard in the isometrics. And then you pressed enough, you pull up enough, your rack deadlift is good, your front squat is where it should be, your prowler is where it should be. Let's now move and then all of a sudden we see that your right side is significantly stronger than your left side. If we'd have kept lifting weights, that difference, I don't know if you guys ever seen high school boys bench press, but the joke is, on a 200-pound bench, they're benching 180 with the right hand and 220 with their left because they're so asymmetrical. Well, part of our job when they're 63, they'll be glad they did this. And then, of course, from there is when we want to do the real sports performance, which is focusing on and if you have the original one, those boxes I put in red, and then, of course, the hinges that are in yellow. From there, we want to develop more of the hinge family and get much more explosive and more work capacity. I call explosion snap. You take snap and work capacity, shove the two words, and I call that snapacity. The high-level performance is all about snapacity. Again, if you're trying to get people who look like me, who graduated with me in high school, snapacity might not be that important until they slip on ice. And then it becomes literally a life and death moment. So but that's just part of the process we need to do. Here's the thing, and listeners, I have 37 exercises up there. If I go to a workshop and find something new, one of the things I try to do academically is pull out. So I make these, and I got some pets on my list that I've taken off. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's like a sad 5-year-old on Christmas morning who didn't get their lucky orange unicorn or whatever. I'll be like, I love that exercise. But this is better, Danny. I know, but I love this one. I'm so good at teaching it. And that, like when I worked with Brett Contreras, completely changed how I looked at the hinge squat and loaded carry. And I had to throw away my love affair with whatever the exercise was at the time. So that's something we can do. In your particular field is something I recommend. Is you could even do a matrix of, I don't want to get too specific, but where what you're looking for then, and I'm going to just use mine, but push, pull, hinge, squat, loaded carry, you fill this whole thing out. And what I found, this is about 12 years ago, I had a gap. I had no asymmetrical pull that was really a good one. One-arm rows, everyone thinks one-arm rows shows, but there's so much body English that you can use in a one-arm row. It wasn't nearly as good as having your heels together, knees together, in a push-up position, doing a strict row here, and then going the left arm, and everything kind of falls apart. So I knew there was a gap, and I actively sought out what I was missing. If you guys are working together in a corporate setting or in a group, high school coaching staff or whatever, what I constantly say is, if you fill out these charts, you look for your gaps. High school I'm working with, the coach called me. I said, I thought you were full of shit, but, oh, sorry, can I swear?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's fine.
It's too late now. They had 26 different pulls that they used in their, pushes that they used in their program per year. And they had 2 pulls and only back squats, and then only half squats. Well, what can you guys see the gap there? Yeah, there was no squat variations, there were no pull variations, and way too many pushes. And so, and I got to tell you, I mean, you can imagine being at the staff meeting where, the guy, Coach Chest is going, well, we need incline, decline, dips. That's great, but that's not making our kids play better in the field of play. We push ourselves off the ground better than any team in the league.
Yes. That kind of goes back to your
Our asses are on the ground more than 18.
Yeah.
This was KIMEcast, and we are the KIME Human Performance Institute. Thank you very much for listening. We'd love to continue the conversation with you. Please hop on our social media. It's at KIMEHPI and engage with us there. If you'd like us to feature a topic or answer any questions live on the show, post your comments there. You can also check us out on our website at kimeperformance.com, and there you can see links to content that we've posted throughout our podcast for more information.